Now, when we talk about purpose and profit, we have to, in the current climate, and I'm using climate as a pun here in terms of climate change also, we have the concept of environment, social responsibilities, and governance. Now, to the skeptical Indian, this sounds a bit like old thepla in new packaging. But, and the more it is propagated, Larry Fink wrote a letter to people sequencing people, planet, and profits. Is this doable? Is it real? Do you see this happening? Or is this one more attempt at repurposing?
Climate change is not a topic that is an intellectual topic anymore. It is one that's real. And if we don't act on climate change today, then we will have failed. As an old Native American proverb says, we do not inherit the world, we borrow it from the next generation.
Correct.
So that is our responsibility for the next generation. And this is something that we have to act in concert. It just cannot be left to governments to say, you please take care of it. The private sector has to play an important role. Our sustainability journey started 15 years ago. Because we recognize the importance of these actions. But what I will also add is that this is again not divorced from profit. So if we look at the various projects that we have done for sustainability in the last 5 years, we've done 2,000 projects. These projects have had a cumulative return on capital of 24%. And that is because we are reducing energy. Today, we use 25% less energy to produce one vehicle than we did 5 years ago. We are water positive across all our plants, collectively across the group. We have the first carbon certified plant in India, in Igatpuri. We've just recently launched net zero homes. This is Mahindra Life Spaces. And construction and operating homes or residential homes constitutes about 40% of carbon dioxide that's released in the environment. And that is something that, again, we are addressing. So all of these things add up to create a significant difference. And therefore, corporates have to partner with governments to lead this effort. We have a business that has three-wheelers. And we've been manufacturing ICE and CNG three-wheelers for many years. Over the last year, we've been selling electric three-wheelers. Today, 70% of our three-wheelers sold are electric. So we've seen that transition from ICE to electric already. And we have a 65% market share in the electric three-wheeler market.
Okay.
So as we think about profit, this is a very profitable business for us that is helping the planet as well. So it's about finding the opportunities, it's about acting on them, and therefore, profits will follow. If you work with purpose, profits will follow.
Just to transit from this area to another aspect. I mean, everybody here is watching the news, what's happening in Ukraine for 2 years. This is probably the first physical conference that's happening in Mumbai after a long time because of the pandemic. So we've had disruptions in a series, so to speak. How do you, as the CEO of a large diversified group, look at and plan for disruption? Now, mind you, the disruptions are both on the supply side and also on the demand side.
So, Shankar, this is one important aspect of reinventing business, which is how does one thrive in uncertainty? And that's what led to my comment earlier that the last 2 years have seen a lot more change that we've seen in the last decade or maybe even more than that. It reminds me of this old game I used to play as a youngster called Whack-A-Mole, where something popped up, you knocked it down with a hammer, and 2 other things popped up. So you're constantly knocking things down with a hammer. And that's exactly the world we're living in today. The new car that we launched, the XUV700, has 130 semiconductors. And every week we might get a call from one of our component makers that the semiconductor for this component is not available, so we can't send you this component. And our team has to then work through production schedules to say, well, we can produce a car, but we can't put the wireless charger in there. Or we can't put this other thing in there because we don't have that one. And how do you plan for that? And the lessons we've learned from that are first around leadership mindset, the positivity that we bring in terms of how do we tackle these problems.
ABP न्यूज आपको रखे आगे।